Palantir was a trending stock today and managed to close green in a sea of red. I'll explain some key levels to look out for in the near term, but before we get into that, there's the closing bell, guys. With the S&Ps down over 47 points here, these futures got clobbered today. When we take a look at the overnight session, things looked fairly good heading into the bell. As we tried to stabilize, we trended higher, and ultimately we were doing good until Powell came on the stand at 12 o'clock and the market just turned. Taking a look at these futures on a daily, the spike in volume here, how much lower can we go in these futures? Now when we take a look at the SPX, we were coming into this week expecting 120 points, and you can just see we had a great Monday session coming 30 shy from the upper edge at 39.30. However, we're now negative on the week, breaking 38.11, getting as low as 37.23. 36.91 is our lower edge on the week, which means we still have some room to fall. Now, when we take a look at the Nasdaq, today the Nasdaq was down 1.5%. Some big volume coming here, and the Nasdaq, when we throw it on the expected move, you can see we're sitting right at the lower edge, which was 12,485. I want to show things a little bit closer and put some of the sigmas up. You can see a 1.5 standard deviation was around 12,275, coming about 20 points shy from that. A 2 standard deviation is 12,065. So we still have some room to fall. However, sitting right at the 1 standard deviation on the week is right where the options market expected this to go, which could tell us the bottom is here. However, when we take a look at the Russell 2000, today the Russell 2000 was down close to 2.5%. So we're really seeing these small caps unfold. Just taking a look at it on an expected move, we bounced off the lower edge at 21.24. However, on a year to date, the Russell was as high as 20%. You can see it's just up around 10%. And as for the Nasdaq, you can just see right here, down 1.5% on the year. The Nasdaq is red. As for the S&Ps, they're up just 2%. And when we take things a little bit closer, taking a look at our sectors, the XLE today was up 2.39%, putting in a new 52-week all-time high. XLE was our only sector green today. You can see the Big 5, however, was down 0.2%, kind of trying to find a floor here. However, when we look at the XLK, it was down 2.2%. So you can see people selling some smaller tech names and kind of going into the safe havens like Google and Facebook today. You can look at the financials, they were down over 1%. So that's going to hurt the market as well. With the financials being down, it's interesting to see what the yield did today. And our worst performing sector on the day was the XSW, the software stocks, down over 3.5% and caused a lot of bleeding in the Russell 2000. So just taking a look at all these sectors here, energy leading the way with the Big 5 just hanging in there near flat on the day. Financials really crushed us, as well as technology as a whole with the software stocks. That's going to put heavy weight on this marketplace, and today we truly felt that. So with our financials down over 1% and all of our equities selling off, you'd expect the bonds to be up ever so slightly. And taking a look at these bonds, they were down 0.85%. They're still trading here, these futures. Now when we take a look at it intraday, once Powell got talking, these bonds really crumbled. Trying to find a floor here, could 157 be its new home? As for our 10-year yield rise, we're sitting at a 1.55% in this 10-year treasury. Just taking a look at it at 3-year, this is putting in a sizable cup and breaking around this level right around here, which we're coming very close to it. Could just send these bonds flying. However, it could be just a short-term top with a pullback in the bond market. It's going to be very interesting to see what the yield does, because with yield rising, it's hurting a lot of these high growth names and people are chasing value stocks. And that's what we're in the midst of seeing right now, rotating before our eyes. But as for volatility, taking a look at these Vix Futures, the Vix Futures today were up close to 5%, seeing the uptick in volume. Looking at how they traded intraday, we got a pretty excited pop, however came quickly down. Looking at the VVIX didn't quite sell off. So when we look at volatility from a whole, it's still elevated. Is it topping? I don't know. It looks like this 120, 125 range is just normal for volatility. However, it's ultimately going to come down to what the equities want to do. Let's take a look at our dollar index, see how the commodities broke down, and see what's up with Bitcoin. And taking a look at the dollar index today, we are breaking higher, up 0.73%. The dollar index is at 91.6. So you can see a clear breakout after having about 3 quiet days here in the dollar. It is strengthening. How would it do for crude oil? Well, crude oil too is popping up close to 5% here at 64.23. Looking at it intraday, it just erupted come 10 o'clock and kind of cooled off a bit, but this was a big driver in the XLE today. As for gold falling even more, getting as low as 16.87. The bigger picture here, gold down over 1%, $20. Right now at 16.95. With a strengthening dollar, it's definitely going to hurt the precious metals. And as for Bitcoin, Bitcoin today is down 5.5%. However, for the most part, consolidating here. 48,000 is a healthy level. Just taking a look at some of my Fibonacci's, and you can just see right here. We got rejected at this 51,000. 46.8 is a level. However, you can't really get too much out of these Fibonacci's. I would just like to hold 45K, and for the most part, it just seems as healthy consolidation. Remember, March 16th is my go date in Bitcoin. If we can just hold the mid 40s, that's a bullish sign heading forward. There you have it for the stock market breakdown. Now today, the Senate is voting on when to start the debate for the COVID relief bill. That $1.9 trillion, could a fresh injection of capital turn this market around? As for today, once Powell started talking around noon, this market just opened wide up. Can technology find a floor? Sitting right at 12,485. That's our 1 standard deviation on the week. If the Nasdaq can put a floor in, it's enough to keep this market at bay. However, the key thing to watch is the bonds. If the bonds keep falling, the yield continues to rise, and it's hurting a lot of these high growth stock names. Too high of a yield will force the Fed to act. But enough of the macro, let's take a look at a trending stock of the day, and today that was Palantir. Palantir today was up 4.8%, with a market cap of around $45 billion. On a year-to-date, Palantir is up 5.8%. Now, what does Palantir do? Well, they're an American software company that specializes in big data analytics. Now, how is this stock up today? When we take a look at it intraday, it was one hell of a ride. Now, yesterday, Kathy Wood, who runs an ETF, bought about 2.65 million shares. I also noticed that this stock is hard to borrow, so potentially a lot of short squeezing happening in this stock. However, when we throw it on an expected move, coming into this week, we expected $2.47. The upper edge at $26.37 and our lower edge at $21.43. For the most part, we're really efficient, just sitting right near the midline at $23.9. I want to point out some Fibonacci levels. Taking a look at a Fibonacci on Palantir, the 61% Fibonacci is a key level to look out for. That's 22.69, which we've been holding that fairly strong. However, we haven't had a test at this level yet. Just taking a closer look at this, I want to show you guys this 23.69. I have a feeling is going to get touched because when you look at the accumulation distribution, it's at negative 600, which tells me a lot of people are getting out of this stock. You can see it's consolidated a good amount around this level. However, one more test at 22.69 will be the ultimatum on if this stock can go higher. However, when just looking at it on the expected move, I think 22.69, at least in the short term, is a solid level, and if we do get to that area, it's going to test this stock. There you have it for the top trending stock, Palantir. Did you watch Palantir today? Where do you see this stock going? And if you watch this far, guys, I really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up. It means a lot when you guys show some support. And if you're watching me for the very first time, I do these market breakdowns every single day. Show some love and hit that subscribe button. It will really mean a lot to me if you guys can do that. But have any questions, comments, feedback for me? Leave it down below and I'll get back to you. But on that note, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Have a great night. Take care. Peace!